And we are live. What's up, chat? What's up, everyone? Big Ox and Pirate. Clearly, Big Ox is a little busy right now, so I'm here with you, your boy Jalen Carter. Here with Pirate. We're talking politics in America. Man, it's been an interesting week. How you feeling, Pirate?
I'm feeling good. I was about to say, Ox, you're looking a lot more Southeast Asian than I'm used to
Just say more handsome.
used to
Say more
seeing you.
handsome, Pirate. It's okay. Just say more handsome.
Yeah, we got the we got all of North America included. I get Mexico in here, but I guess
Mexico's
that's
not
all
here.
right.
Hey, if anybody from Mexico wants to join, let us know. Make it a full North America thing.
Yeah, it'd be good. Any Mexicans in the chat, hop on.
100%. As long as
Hop
Trump
on.
don't kick him out. Hey man, what's going? We got to protect one. If Trump's kicking off, we got to protect one. Pirate, what's going on with you?
One at a time. That's the motto for the next 4 years.
Hey,
One at a
protect
time.
the dreamers. Protect the dreamers. I got love for the dreamers.
Oh
Hey,
man, have you seen the new borders are
oh yeah,
much of
he's
him?
not playing games.
Any of those
He's
clips?
not playing games. He is not playing
This guy's
games. Dude is
not
actually
fucking around.
serious. But the whole anchor baby thing, isn't that like a constitutional thing? I look. I mean, my thing is obviously right now, if you're born in a country, you're a citizen. You can't kick them out. I just don't think that's constitutionally allowed. I think they would have to take that to the Supreme Court. I don't even know if the Supreme Court can change it. Isn't a constitutional amendment you need like 70% of states or something to change?
Constitutional amendment, you need 66% of the House and the Senate, and then you also need 75% of the state legislatures to ratify it.
Which is literally
so
never
amendments
happened.
are tough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
amendments are tough.
is the anchor baby thing, or being born here protected?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think it is constitutional. It's yeah, that's the short answer. I believe they are constitutionally citizens. At the same time, it seems odd that like if you are in the country illegally, that applies. But I think you are right that it does apply. So that's probably the biggest hurdle in the whole thing.
Gotcha.
I would guess. But he's not fucking around. He's like
everyone going to the states. You're not going to help us. We're going to send government agents in. It's just one of those things. I think man, it definitely seems like they're going to be deporting quite a few people. But people do forget. I think Obama aborted quite a few people too. I mean, he
Obama aborted a ton. I think
even Clinton too.
I think he deported like 5 million.
Yeah, definitely a strong.
I think he deported like 5 million.
Yeah. And look, I do think that the country can't sustain itself if you're just letting everybody in. So I think it is logical, of course. If you're seeking asylum, you come through. You make your case, and hopefully it goes your way, of course. And I think everyone has. We can understand if someone's saying, "Hey, we're being attacked in our country. We won't survive there." Like everyone has an emotional. You empathize, right? Everyone has empathy. It's just whether one, how legit it is, and two, how the country can sustain itself, allowing people who are.
I said, I mean, two things can be equally true, right? Like obviously, like I couldn't. If you come from a horrible country in a horrible situation, it makes total sense to me that you would try to. You would try to sneak into a country where you would make your life better. At the same time, the country that you're trying to sneak into, I mean, to be a country, you have the right to control your population and your immigration. So it's a tough situation. I mean, I feel like it's just it's a perfect example of life is hard and the world is tough and you can empathize, but at the same point, it like again, I'm becoming an old man. This has been an issue my entire life, and it looks like this administration is they're of the mindset of, all right, we're gonna end this end this debate. Like this issue has been an issue on the table. We've been talking about it for decades, and at some point, either you're going to keep it an issue for decades, or you're going to address it. And it looks like they're going to try to address it as quickly as possible. The whole asylum thing, I think, is it's an issue unto itself, man. I think they might go for something where it's like, the border's closed for the next year.
I mean, I'm not too mad at that kind of thing. I've always said sometimes if a country's in a real desperate situation, maybe you just close the border for a full year, get it fixed, figure out a game plan, and then reopen it and then go from there. But I do think sometimes a pause can definitely help. Just give me a second, Pyre. I'll be right back. But
yeah, did your audio change somehow? It sounds a lot quieter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'll be some prong of like basically the border shut down for a year till we sort this out. And then something along the lines of I've seen bandied about, and I kind of agree. A good thing would be like maybe a grace period, like a 3 or 4 month grace period, where it's like, hey, if you're an illegal citizen, if you report, we'll send you back to the country of your origin. We'll maybe put a couple bucks in your pocket, and in a few years you'll be eligible to apply for citizenship again. Like if you report during the grace period. And if you don't report during the grace period, you will be blacklisted from the country for the rest of your life. Some kind of ultimatum like that.
What do you think about the
self-deportation
baby situation, though? What do you think about the people who had a kid here? Do you deport their parents with the kid? The kids have a right to be here. What's your opinion on that? I think if you had a kid here, you have a right to stay and raise a kid here. But that's just my opinion.
Did your audio change? Because I can barely hear you now. I don't know if it's mine or your end. But I would say those situations with the kids where the parents are illegal and the kids are naturalized citizens. I hate to say it, but I would say like maybe just kind of push that off. I guess leave that for last. Don't really. Because I feel like we got a lot more. The priority is going to be the criminals. The hardcore criminals, the people that are documented. I think we got like 20,000 known murderers that are in the country. So start with that, kind of work your way down. Work your way down to the people who've maybe just what's the whole rule last in first out. So the people who've only been here for like a couple months.
I hear you.
And then I feel the people who've been here for like a decade, the people who do have kids that were born in America, that's a sticky situation. Just put that off for least priority.
Yeah, that's true. If you've been here for, let's say, use that number, a decade, let's say even illegally, it's a tricky spot because I think a lot of them probably assimilated to the culture, with their neighbors. I think for the most, if you've been here for a decade, I think you have, you have picked up a lot of American values. Hopefully you have. Your kids have kind of grown up, very Americanized for sure. And in some ways, I feel like in 10 years, all right, maybe you should be allowed to stay if you've been a good citizen, paying your taxes. Again, kids born here. I feel like there should be some sort of thing where it's like, okay, a path to citizenship is available. And then from here on end, you fix the border, fix the situation so that doesn't happen again. You don't have someone here illegally for 10 years again, right? So, hopefully, yeah. So like I said, I think the pause on the border would be strong. Taking a year figuring out, but the people who've been here, let's say for a decade, there has to be a way to, I think, probably let them stay and figure it out.
If you've been here a decade, you haven't been, you haven't been breaking laws. You've been working hard.
Yeah.
I'm down. We can be more lenient, try to figure out some kind of middle ground
for sure
with those people. But yeah, it's gonna be stratified, and again, just the first key is locking it down right now. If your house is flooding, the first thing you got to do is cut off the water, right? So first cut off the water. Then deal with wherever the worst water damage is to keep the analogy going.
I hear you.
And then work your way down from there. And
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be as draconian as some people fear, but that, a lot of it's perspective. I mean, some of these people on the left, they're just really they support open borders, and even the thought of deporting anyone to them is like
that's a little crazy.
Some kind of human rights crime. But honestly, those days are past. I feel like the public spoke.
Yeah, and again, I think that's one of the big things why Democrats are. You could say, "Hey, we want our country to be welcoming to immigrants, to people escaping, really bad situation, give them opportunity." That's one thing, but to fully say, open borders and just not fix that situation that's clearly affecting the lives of many American people, especially border states, I think is a problem. And one of the people who I think, to me, just really annoys me at this point, and is a voice in the left, is Sunny Hostin on The View. I just think she is so out of touch. Her thing with the election was this election came down to misogyny, racism, every ism you can think of. I'm like, Sonny, stop it. You sound like an idiot. Stop it. You lost because Democrats failed to really kind of address a lot of the issues that really matter to the people. And yes, the abortion issue, that's a good issue. That's a winning issue. Focus on that. Like I said, the border crisis, not solid. Healthcare is a big thing that Democrats always ran on. I heard this was the Democratic cycle that I heard the least about healthcare.
Yeah, it dropped off.
Right. Yeah. And that used to be huge talking points. And that was a winning point. Right. That's a winning thing. And again, paid sick leave. I still understand how people are against paid sick leave. That's a topic Republicans, Democrats, everyone enjoys. If you're sick at work, you should have a certain amount of paid sick leave days. There are people with no paid sick leave, which is crazy to me. That's just that's nuts. So I think that should be a pretty much standard. So there's so many issues Democrats could have focused on. And you can kind of see, I saw a tweet the other day too, where I think Democrats are slowly transitioning away from the trans issue, where they're not going to be talked about it all the time as like a strong core point. Like it was brought up, they'll be like, hey, we support trans, which is great. I think you should support trans people, but what you're teaching in schools, clearly parents didn't like, the exposure to certain topics for kids, who are 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, people didn't like. So I think Democrats are definitely going to make a pivot. And again, I just think they got to go in a more populist view, but also transition from there. Pirate Trump. Look, I obviously have my disagreements with Trump, but I do agree with his populist view, and I do kind of respect the fact he says what he wants to say. Some of these appointments, I will say, for a guy that ran on a very populist agenda, anti-war, there are few too many establishment guys coming, like Marco Rubio. We're talking about
now that's surprising. I didn't think you were going to say that, because there really are. Rubio is really the only establishment guy there is. Everyone else, people are saying no. He's plucking guys out of the fields, who are like
RFK Jr. I think actually that's a good pick. Even though a lot of doctors have come out and said he's a conspiracy theorist, this and that, I actually think his whole messaging of food quality in America, improving that, banning certain foods, which I will also say, when Michelle Obama tried to make healthy school lunches, all right, saying, oh, we should ban this sugary drink, we should ban this. It's, oh, she's taking our rights away. Oh, she's taking away freedom of choice. Pirate, I know you remember that. The right-wing Fox News is going crazy. But now RFK has a similar message and is being loved. So sometimes I think the person saying it, the message, can influence people. Because Michelle was doing the same thing with the school lunch program. So I just do find that ironic. But again, that is politics. What do you think?
Well, I still think we as Americans got a right to eat any goddamn thing on earth, and if you're getting fat, run around the block,
I hear you. But come on, that was a good thing. Like if you want, say, for our kids, give them healthier options. Don't give them the sugary, ultra processed foods that RFK wants to take out all the gunk out of. It's very similar concept. But again, I like.
Yeah, but you know what, Jalen? I think a lot of this stuff with the kids is really the exercise. Because I remember when I was a kid, we were drinking Coca-Cola and eating Kentucky Fried Chicken, but we were out until the sun went down, running around the block, like working it all off. I feel like the biggest difference is that the kids are eating the same stuff that we used to eat, but they're just sitting in front of the TV and video games a lot.
Yeah, the thing is, look, being in the fitness world, been working out quite a few years now. Obviously, when you're a kid, your metabolism at another level. You can get away with eating McDonald's, pizza, candy, and all that when you have gym class every day in some schools. You're going out, hanging out with your friends. And again, when you're young, get away. Even in high school, right? Even in your early 20s, like you can go to the gym and eat Burger King every day. And sometimes people still have 6-pack abs. You know what I mean? It's just what it is when you're younger. As you get older, obviously your nutrition has to change. Your body's just not going to be able to handle as many calories usually. You're probably, when you're not 21, buddies in college, university, hanging out, you're in the office most of the time sitting down, right? So you're not getting that physical movement. I definitely agree with you there. But again, the food quality thing, I think everyone can agree on. And even the whole, what do you call it? The big pharma, getting rid of that situation with RFK, which again, that was a very left-wing Bernie Sanders talking point about 6 years ago, right?
Jalen, I feel like it's kind of, these people have such Trump derangement syndrome. It's just whatever Trump says, they're going to take the opposite no matter what the fuck it is. The big pharma thing, that was the left thing.
Yeah,
like my whole life, but like the left hated big pharma.
Mm-hmm.
But then as soon as this COVID stuff happened, all of a sudden,
there was a little bit of a switch.
Just like the left becomes,
and the right became very anti-big pharma, which, hey, you know what I mean? It's interesting how that switch kind of occurred because the whole COVID booster shot thing, that definitely changed a lot.
And I kind of think that's what the pattern with the Trump thing has been, and why Trump has been able to win, because it seems like the left is so hung up on hating whatever he does. Trump kind of has the ability to pick and choose the good things, and then if he picks a good thing, then the left switches, and they're like, all right, fine, you can have that. So it's like, instead of the natural split down the middle where it's like kind of evenly spread, I feel like Trump can cherry pick whatever Trump. If Trump is against war, then now all of a sudden the left's going to be for war. And it's like, all right, like Trump, you're really messing up your coalition.
Yeah, Trump has a lot more left-leaning, almost technically what I consider progressive values, and a lot of people realize.
Yeah,
he's just a traditional Christian guy. He's not even a traditional Christian. Let's be real. I think he runs on that, but he's not. He's had multiple. He's not. I know he's not going to church every Sunday. That's not him. Okay, I know you weren't doing
Trump.
That. Yeah,
no, dude. Trump isn't even like a super conservative guy. I have beliefs that are way more conservative than Trump. They act like Trump is this super right winger, and everyone.
He's not Ted Cruz. He's definitely not Ted Cruz.
In the historic sense, Trump is kind of like in the Bill Clinton.
I was gonna say Bill Clinton might be the closest politician to Trump. In a lot of their beliefs, they're both charismatic, whether you like them or not. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between Clinton and Trump. So he's he's closer to a Democrat Bill Clinton than a Ted Cruz conservative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess what
yeah. But I mean, I was looking at a chart last night. Because everyone argues, like, people on the left say that people on the right have gone way right, and then people on the right say people on the left have gone way left. It's all relative to kind of where pretty much everyone thinks that you're in the middle, so everybody else is like to the right or to the left of where you are. But I was looking at some good charts last night that really did seem to illustrate that the Democrats really have swung out to the left over the last 10 or 12 years. Like, for the first time in 60 years, the Democrats are not identified with the working class anymore. The Democrats are more identified with these social issues.
I think the Democrats focus too much on the social issue side, which again, I think the abortion
it's
thing
really going to hurt them. I think it's really going to hurt them, because I feel like they've got such a divide now between the 20 or 30% of Democrats who are really like the purple haired nose septum, far left types, and then the more moderate Democrats, because it was a balance that they could kind of play during the Obama years, because they had enough numbers to where they could kind of appease both sides, or lose a little bit off the extreme, or lose a little bit off the moderate with their messaging. But where it is right now, I don't think they have the numbers to, hold that coalition together. When you look at the demographic shifts in this last election, when it comes to the whole identity politics, because basically the Democrats, they do this targeted messaging. Like, all right, we have a room full of women. Here's our message for women. We have a room full of black people. Here's our message for black people. And they kind of wanted to run off that, but they lost so much of. I mean, the Hispanics went 50-50,
which is crazy. Yeah,
it's crazy. Republicans got majority Hispanic.
I think the shift, though, again with the voting thing, I just think it was a terrible campaign situation with Kamala Harris. I just think it was a really bad candidate. In terms of the beliefs, I think there's a loud voice in the left, maybe, who are very some of these topics where where they're super left, again, teaching kids certain
defund the police.
Yeah, the defund the police thing was always stupid. It's more, you could easily reword that to let's make the police more efficient. Let's help them make more efficient. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to say defund the police. That's just terrible.
But Jalen, that points to the word games that they have to play, because you can for the moderate Democrats, but the fact is that you legitimately have this 20% core who are the all cops are bastards.
I don't know. I don't know if they're. I don't. Again, maybe they might be 20%, but I don't know if they're 20% of the voting demographic, or do they even vote?
No, I'm saying 20% of the Democrats.
Okay, yeah. But I feel like people who are very defund the police. This country is, built. This country is terrible, built on only slavery, only bad things. Like, they only say the bad. I don't even think they vote. I think they're very just like, screw this place. They don't even go vote. You know what I mean? But I
think they definitely voted in 2020.
I mean, hey, those 15.
So have you seen the difference in the number of votes between 2020 and 2024?
W mail-in ballots. W mail-in ballots. You got to do what you got to do, baby. You got to do what you got to do. I ain't mad at him. Hey, man, 96-year-old Becky who couldn't come to the polling station, you get her to mail it in. Maybe.
And the youth vote shifted dramatically towards Trump. It's really crazy because, like, everything did.
Again, I do think it's
in the country, in the cities, the old, the young, the black, the white.
But again, I don't think the Democrats would put out a worse candidate than this in the next 3-4 elections. Like,
she really was horrible.
She was a terrible candidate. I think, again, the Democrats, ever since 2016, it's really been downhill since they screwed over Bernie. I will stick by that. I even see, shout out Senk from TYT. He's continually saying the establishment, Democrats are the problem. The country clearly wants to go in a populist, kind of view. That's the way to go. Again, I'm all for. I think AOC could win, even though she's very kind of left wing in a lot of
AOC.
I think AOC can win. But you know what? It's almost like the same thing of Trump. And I think I hear a lot of Trump supporters say this about Bernie too. It's like they can almost respect Bernie because he says what he believes in, and they genuinely believe he's a man for the people. Like, you may disagree with what he said. You'll be like, his policies might hurt me. But you genuinely believe that Trump wants to help me. I genuinely believe that Bernie Sanders wants to help the people. Some of these bought-out politicians, I don't genuinely believe they want to help people. I just think they're in it for their own game. They're in it for the military-industrial complex, big pharma. Like, there's other things in play than actually helping the people, right, and being a politician. So what do you think about, think about some of the things? I actually like the Tulsi Gabbard. I like her nomination. I think Democrats are up in arms.
No reason. Yeah, and Tulsi is another one, like the RFK, who, another former Democrat shifted over,
the Matt Gaetz
shifted over. With Tulsi. I like Tulsi. I'm not totally in love because, again, she is like a former Democrat. I'm in a bit of a wait and see with Tulsi, because when I see people who are like shifting their philosophies, it's not that, like, I appreciate that, and like people can grow and change and everything, but
she's not
when I see people who are like right in the middle of a grand worldview shift, part of my brain is like, all right, you still kind of need to sort out like what you actually believe.
I think she would have been. I think, again, she's very the Clinton Democrat type, Bill Clinton type. I think she might fall in that category for sure. She's not super conservative by any means, but she is very anti. I think a lot of these things you have to be anti quote establishment, anti-war.
Yeah.
That's kind of the core main principle between a lot of these guys. The Fox News guy who got picked,
Pete Hegseth.
Yeah, Pete Hegseth. He's actually I don't hate the pick. He says some wild things. I think it's.
I like him a lot. I like you a lot. Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
The thing that he said about,
I think he's a pretty authentic guy. Like,
definitely authentic.
He also, he's smart as hell. He's got degrees from Princeton and Harvard.
Yeah,
he was a 10-year war vet.
Yeah, it goes to get that. It's funny. Like some of the Democrats love to say, "Oh, uneducated, this and that," about a lot of people on the right, and then you have a guy who's pretty much at the top of the top in terms of how educated you can be, and then there's still a hating on him, but pick because he's a Sunday co-host or whatever. I mean, that's a little.
He's a Fox News guy, which I don't think working in the media is any slight to. I mean, we see it in politics, we see it in sports 100%. A lot, right? We see Steve Kerr just come out of the booth and go into coaching. I feel like that's a similar kind of. I feel like a lot of the people who are in the media are actually more on top of some of these things than the people who are actually politicians. Because to be in the media, you gotta if you want to be successful, if you want to be good at your job, you got to be on top of what's going on.
I think we're going to see a lot of media personalities really jump into politics a lot more.
And he's he's a smart guy. He's not just in the media. He's an author. He wrote a book that was like a New York Times bestseller about how he would, revamp the military, which I do believe.
What do you think
definitely needs revamping?
What do you think his statement about women not
the way it is now?
Yeah.
I completely respect the military and everything, but we have to admit there is a big difference between veterans from World War II and what's going on in our military today.
Yeah, but I also think it's different situations. Like World War II required something different than what the military requires now.
But that's what I mean. The standards that are required right now are so low.
You think? I think isn't like conditioning standards higher? I feel like conditioning.
No, way lower, especially since because they revamped it with all the allowing the women in and everything. The physical standards have dropped like crazy.
Okay.
And you see videos of some of the soldiers now. They're just like, sitting in their barracks, doing their nails, listening to Taylor Swift, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure if these are the Spartan warriors that we need to defend ourselves from.
Just because the dude is listening to Taylor Swift doesn't mean he can't snipe show somebody when he needs to, or
I think it might actually mean that. I think it might be mutually exclusive.
Oh man. I mean, no, yeah, I'm not mad at that pick. I think he could fix something. I'm not too familiar with some of the problems in the military, but I'm not mad at that pick. What about the CIA guy? I'm not too hip on him in a sense. John Ratcliffe. Don't know too much about him. That's the only thing. But is he is he like a very we need to fix the CIA, the corruption within it type of guy, or?
Wait, the CIA. Now you said, is there? Man, the audio's for some reason it's like I can't hear you very well. I'm trying to see if it's on my end or not.
John Ratcliffe.
John who now? I haven't seen. Is there a?
Yeah.
Is there a nominee for the CIA?
Yeah. The CIA director, former Texas Congressman John Ratcliffe, fierce defender, president-elect.
John Ratcliffe. Yeah.
I don't know.
I honestly don't know too much about that. Did that just come in today?
No, I believe
because I didn't really see that as a nominee.
Like 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Oh.
I think just because there's so many bigger names that caught the headlines, he's more.
Yeah, they're tossing around for the FBI. Kash Patel. Do you know him? You ever seen him around?
I've heard the name Kash, but I've never seen like what he believes in or what he's been kind of doing. The FBI. Yeah. I mean, I think the right definitely hates the FBI. They feel like it's been weaponized. So I mean, he has to be. Is he someone that feels the same way and just going to fully gut and kind of rebuild the FBI in some ways?
But now, so Jalen, we got to talk about the grand picture here.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to look like, and I'm happy. This is starting to look like this may be the biggest reformation of the federal government in our lifetime. When you're talking about the focus on the Department of Government Efficiency and everything is looking like
I wonder how much they can get done.
What's that?
The CIA and FBI, I think it's interesting because there's always been this kind of belief. There's a core group of people who run those organizations, like the director. Obviously, there's the director of those things, but they kind of interchange. But I feel like there's some lifers within there that really control it. Again, I don't know if people.
There are lifers everywhere. Yeah. There's bureaucracy everywhere. There's lifers everywhere. Yeah. And it looks like if it can be done to whatever extent it can be done, we are going to tear this motherfucker down. The federal shift virtually all of it back to the states. Tear down this budget. No more $6 trillion a year. None of this.
Hey,
no more.
You can use that money for universal health care. Just saying.
Yep. No more of the federal government. Like I've said, in my philosophy, the federal government is there for like 3 or 4 very narrow things. The federal government's there to have our defense, have our defense of the border, have our defense from foreign nations, to negotiate with foreign nations, and to protect the Constitution in the state. And that's about it. All this other stuff we can do away with. The Department of Education.
The education is interesting because do you think
gone?
No, I hear what you're saying. I do think there's a lot of waste going on. I do think Vivek and Elon Musk with their efficiency group can definitely help save America a lot of money and hopefully pay down the debt or even put that money towards something Americans use. But in terms of the education thing, do you think some problems could arise between, what they teach in California versus Mississippi? You still want some sort of standardized things being taught everywhere?
No, as long as it's not breaking the Constitution, the federal government has no say in it. Gone. Do you know?
Breaking the Constitution?
People, you know what year the Department of Education popped up?
It was it Jimmy Carter who did it?
Yeah,
Jimmy Carter, right? Yeah, this guy.
Yeah, it was 79. It's not like we existed as the superpower in the world. Without the Department of Education, we do not need this Department of Education.
Will there be places that might say, "Oh, again, I guess it's subjective, like the Civil War, how you teach that." I think it's very different in different states and how people view it.
Deal with it in the states. It's 2024. I'm sure there are going to be differences. You leave it up to the population of the states. If you really fucking hate it, fucking move to a different state. That's what I gotta say. What's
the line, right? Like, what's the line? It's if someone says, okay, slavery was actually good for America, like that's the line. You know what I mean? Like, what's the line that you can't teach?
Leave it to the states. I mean, I don't want to. There are like 1,000 different variants. All I know is that the system we got right now is nothing to like be dancing in the streets about.
Even if I say, let's say a state teaches, again, this is very drastic. Let's just say, Martin Luther King was actually a criminal. You know what I mean? Let's say that, like, that's just what they're teaching. Does the federal government or somebody have to go in and be like, hey, you can't teach that? Or do you just leave it?
I mean, okay, let's pull back. Like, if you found some, like, crazy, egregious example of I'm sure you could, you would have to be tied to the Constitution because that's what the federal government is there to enforce the Constitution. So if some case were egregiously misstating, well, honestly, I'm against public education in general. I don't not just all right, first get rid of the Department of Education, and then within the states that are smart are going to figure out some kind of school choice option. The entire educational system needs to be revamped. It's a siphon for money. It doesn't work for anybody except for the teachers and the administration of these schools. That's the only people who are benefiting, and that's why the teachers union is the biggest union in the country.
But teachers in America are severely underpaid.
They are not underpaid. Underpaid is a value. What value are you giving? They're not underpaid. They're not under. They're getting money directly from the government. All of their salaries are negotiated with the government. It's not even a fair negotiation. If they were in the private sector, half these teachers would not be employed because they're not actually doing anything.
Hold on. There's teachers making $40,000 a year, barely surviving. I don't think teachers should ever be in.
There are too many of them.
I'm all for the free market stuff, and if there's too many of them, you just got to pick another profession.
There are too many of them, and they don't have to prove their worth because their union is so strong because they have the biggest union in America. The teachers' union is the biggest, most powerful. Everybody on the left and the right, rightfully so. You complain about lobbyists and lobbyists in government. Well, the biggest lobbyist in American government is the teachers' union.
I think that's
defending all of these teachers who are not teaching the kids. The kids are not coming out even with basic reading and math comprehension.
Well, hold on. I don't think necessarily fair to all teachers. Again, so one.
Well, not all, but I mean, as a whole, yes. I'll indict them as a whole.
Every first kind of civilized first world nation have strong teachers union, right? Canada, America. You go, like teachers unions are strong throughout every kind of established nation. It's kind of the way it is for whatever reason. I think teachers hold a lot of power in some ways. That could be right or wrong. But I think America is actually known for a lot of, especially some of these, again, the middle states, like states in the middle. Teachers are severely, but like here, like there's teachers making, $100K, $110K, $80,000 a year, right? After they've been doing it, like high school teachers, not like just high school teachers teaching kids doing well.
Well, Jalen, I think if we completely redo the system, we instill school choice, and again, instead of giving the tax money directly to the suppliers, i.e. the principals and the teachers, giving them the money and saying, all right, hey, go do your thing. You give your money to the consumers, the parents, and let them choose the schools. And then the schools will have to compete with each other. And the good teachers and the good principals will rise. I'm sure in that system, some of them will make $100,000 because they'll be good and they'll have a proven track record, and parents will be knocking down their door to get into their establishment.
You just close down the bad schools who aren't.
They're not working anyway. It would be like I would feel like this argument would be different if there were something to defend about the American public school system. But honestly, its only purpose at this point is to keep the kids off the streets. That's all it does. We are not pumping out educated kids.
Yeah, see, I mean, I didn't grow up in that system, so again, you have a better understanding of that for sure. Do I think America's education system is that bad?
It's basically overpriced babysitting. is what it is. Yeah, they're babysitters.
I know America should be higher on those, like the math. I think standardized math.
Fuck yeah. Tests. And just pumping more money into the system and giving them we need nicer laptops. What are you talking about, man? To get to a level where you have basic reading, writing, and math comprehension, you don't need anything more than a pencil and a paper and a book. That's I
think you convinced me in some ways that again, that it's such a problem that maybe this drastic shift. I still don't know if school choice is the answer. I just don't know, but maybe I'm more willing to give it a shot because clearly what's happening right now isn't working. So give it a shot. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you got to fix up again.
Yeah, no, I tried to. It's just again, this is the difference between are you looking at supply side or demand side? I think supply side is the answer 90% of the time. Like if your people, like I was saying before, if for some reason you decide the people need more cell phones, is the best option for the government to start to build cell phones, or is it to you help people buy cell phones from people who are proven to be able to make that product? Right now, the system we have right now is just saying that if we call you a teacher and we give you enough money, then that will work. And I'm saying that's that doesn't work. It's like saying if you print enough money, nobody will be poor. Or if you print enough diplomas, all of a sudden everyone's smart. I feel like it just doesn't work that way.
I hear you. I want to look at some of these education numbers for the American kids and figure out, why some of these standardized tests are low, and even kind of go state by state and see that situation. But that's definitely an interesting for sure. Couple more minutes here. I do have to go. Any topic you want to touch on real quick, or kind of last one you want to hit up, Pirate?
Oh, where are you saying you need to go?
No, just gonna go. Basically, just have kind of like a late lunch with my friends, group of friends, a little meetup.
Yeah. No, I mean, no, that was. I don't think I have anything major. I mean, It's a new time, so it'll be cool to see this transition. See if I've seen a couple of states are trying to talk like recount or maybe challenging, but I don't think any of that's really gonna.
No, I don't think that's a real thing.
I do find it really odd that the Democrats were saying this is Hitler, this is the end of democracy, the world will be over if he wins, and then as soon as he wins, it's like peaceful transition, yucking it up.
Yeah, that's what I say too. Were those just like political commentators? Because Obama was very the sun will rise. I think most Democrats in political office were saying the sun will rise. There were just some like loud people on the like people got to stop equating Democrats to like, even though I guess technically they are, but like,
I'm talking specifically about Kamala and Biden.
I mean, wait, is that political speak? Or is that just like, I don't think anyone actually believed that. There's no way anyone actually believed that. To me, again,
I think that's very irresponsible political speak, because they got a huge chunk of their constituency to be seriously
but to me,
thinking that it's the Third Reich now. So.
Yeah, but to me, that's just politics. That's the same way how people on the right, if Democrats win, they're gonna let rapists and killers through the border, and the country's gonna end. You know what I mean? Like it's just like people say these fantasized things to just paint a picture that they want to say of the worst thing that could possibly happen. Do I think they actually believe that? No, but I just think in politics, people say a lot of these things to scare voters or get voters amped up. That's just politics to me. I can understand why people are upset, but again, I do think it's a ridiculous thing to say, calling him Hitler, this and that.
I just feel like it's gone to a new level, because I mean, like, literally we could pull up clips where like Kamala is saying that he idolizes Hitler. Like that's that's like how much you can't really get any more extreme than that. Like seriously, he idolizes Hitler, because I feel like if that's really what you believe, then no way I'm actually peacefully handing over. Like fuck that. Like
if I genuinely believe that, I'm taking him out.
It's like we are going to war then. Or you're just gonna give the power over to Hitler, because that seems crazy.
If I genuinely believe that, I'm calling the Secret Service, FBI, CIA, and be like, we gotta take him out. Like that's if you really believe that's what you do, right? If you really thought he was gonna do that, you'd be like, yes.
I mean, you should be storming the Capitol if that's what you really believe. I feel like I'd have more respect for you if you were like,
if you really believe that, I wouldn't do the transition of power. I would just be like, okay, no, you're going to do something. If you really, but clearly they don't. Yeah. Clearly, except the sun will always rise, regardless of who wins. The sun will rise. The American system, it'll survive any president or any single individual. No single individual will crumble. American democracy in a way, right? So that's just people always kind of over exaggerate on that. Man, I think that's a good. What was going to ask the last? Oh, well, I thought the Supreme Court. I think some people want Democrats want Sotomayor to retire. Again, I think if you're a good company person, you do retire. Let Biden get in a pick and get someone in there that'll last 20, 30 years.
I think it probably would have been smart to maybe retire a few months ago, but at this point, I don't even know if you would have enough time. It might turn into the biggest blunder ever, because you might get her to retire and then you can't confirm anybody before Trump becomes president.
Don't Democrats still have the Senate though right now? Am I tripping?
I mean, it takes a little while to confirm a Supreme Court.
Oh, but you can rush it. They would rush it.
They can try, but I mean, I wouldn't have much faith. I wouldn't have much faith in this Democratic class right now. I'm saying I think there might be a chance they would get her to retire. They can't confirm anyone, and then Trump comes in and he's got an automatic. He's got another seat on the Supreme Court, like right out the gate. That would be crazy.
What's that? Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I already know Mr. Company Man Clarence Thomas is gonna retire. Like I can respect that he will do whatever the Republicans tell him, even though I think he's a little wild with how he reads the Constitution in some ways. He will definitely retire. I think.
Yeah, hopefully he retires.
Alito, I think, is an interesting one. He might not. He's more because I've actually seen him vote with the left, or what people consider more left, a couple times. I think more than people realize. So he'll be interesting. But if Trump gets two more in there, I mean, man.
They'll both be conservative, so it'll really just be. It won't be a flip.
Maybe I wonder if Trump might pick one that's like I said, a Clinton Democrat. I don't know if but he picked Neil Gorsuch. He picked some. That's interesting though for a guy who's maybe aligned with, again, more Clinton Democrat personal beliefs. His judge picks are very Ted Cruz, right? They're very, very conservative, very traditionalist.
Well, I mean, honestly, this is it's all perspective of, again, like I'm a very I'm a pretty conservative, fiscal conservative guy. I've been pleasantly surprised with Trump seems to be going a bit more conservative in some of these in the good the conservative stuff that I like, where it's like it's less of the Christian conservative social stuff. Because I feel like on the social stuff, he's a pretty middle of the road guy. But he does seem to be latching on to a lot of the smaller government fiscal conservatism.
Yeah. He's not the Bible and gun in one hand conservative.
Yeah,
he's not that.
Yeah. No, it's Donald Trump, man. He's not. Yeah, he's not like a Bible thumper. He's definitely not some guru of morality.
I hear you. That's for sure. All right, and with that, we're gonna call it an episode, chat. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Good conversation as always, Pi. We're gonna do this again next week.
Yep.
Like, comment, subscribe, the usual. Hopefully, Ox will be here too. We're just a little busy with the meeting. Any final words for the people, Pirate?
No, it's good to see you. Hopefully, we'll be back next week. Figure out what days, and it should be fireworks between now and January 20th. So
should be fun.
Fun stuff.
Take care, chat.